Quarterback Geno Smith has spoken publicly for the first time since joining the Las Vegas Raiders. Head coach Pete Carroll has been meeting with quarterback prospects. Many believe the Raiders could still draft a QB in the early rounds. Star running back Ashton Jeanty is favored to be drafted by Vegas, especially after what the Raiders GM's son just said. It is rare in the NFL to see a quarterback and a head coach reunite on a totally different team. This is something that rarely happens, and Geno Smith and Pete Carroll know each other well. They know how to calm each other down on the sideline.
There is chaos going on. The ref just made a totally erroneous call. Pete Carroll upset. Geno Smith upset. Their starting center upset. Watch what goes on as Geno Smith is arguing with the coach. Pete Carroll, Geno, hey Geno. Just calm, cool, and collected.
And in Seattle, they have even yelled at the referees with each other. They have truly been on the battle lines together. This was the famous referee moment, the "I'm talking to America" moment.
It's a 10-yard penalty. I'm talking to America here, excuse me. It's a 10-yard penalty.
Geno Smith and head coach Pete Carroll were absolutely livid in a matchup against the Detroit Lions in 2023 when the officials made a bad intentional grounding call. And this was actually pretty cool to see this video and see all of that. I really hope Pete Carroll brings this type of energy and rips into these freaking refs for the Raiders in 2025. But while in Seattle, quarterback Geno Smith made it clear that Pete Carroll is the guy who gave him his confidence back.
I've always been a little hard on myself. I'm always like, you're not good enough, and but he helped me change the way I spoke to myself a little bit.
Which is why the moment when Pete Carroll became the head coach of the Raiders after taking a year off when he was ousted by the Seattle Seahawks, we should have seen this coming. We should have seen the Geno Smith Pete Carroll reunion happening on a different team. When Pete Carroll was hired by the Raiders, you had Geno Smith posting cryptic messages on social media, here on Instagram. Right when Pete Carroll was hired, apropos of nothing, he puts a picture of himself and Pete together. At the time, nobody thought much of this, but then boom, out of nowhere, just weeks later, Geno Smith is traded to the Raiders from the Seattle Seahawks for a third-round pick. Now in early April, Geno Smith has had his opening press conference for the Las Vegas Raiders, and he credited Pete Carroll again with saving his career.
When people think about my story, Coach Carroll was a big part of that. He gave me an opportunity when not many people would have, and he saw, the hard work that I was putting in. He saw the things behind the scenes that I do that allowed me to get this opportunity. I was just telling him, man, I'll run through a wall for him, and he knows that.
So these two guys know each other real well. Geno Smith said he would run through a wall for him, and like I said, this is a rare thing in the NFL. You often get brand new head coach on a team, and then you get a brand new quarterback in free agency or the draft. These guys got to get to know each other. These guys also have to learn the scheme together. All of this is sidestepped in this rare scenario where Geno Smith and Pete Carroll are having their reunion. And based on what Pete Carroll says next and what Geno Smith says a little later on in a different interview, it sounds like these two guys plan to be with each other for a good amount of time.
Oh, he's going to bring us great stability and belief in the kinds of things that we stand for. His habits are so stellar. The way he works, the way he looks at the game, the way he looks at the challenges of it all is exactly in line with the way we think. I think it gives us instant stability. My understanding of G and how to help him be the best he can be, and he knows how to bring out the best in our system because he'll stand for the competitiveness and the things that we believe in.
What's interesting is that Pete Carroll clearly has a lot of faith in Geno Smith and really believes he could be the franchise guy for years to come, but the contract that Geno Smith just signed with the Raiders says otherwise, and there's a lot of people and a lot of belief around the NFL that the Raiders could still select a quarterback in the second round, maybe even the first round. Who really knows? Geno Smith has a 2-year deal, $75 million extension, but $66 million is fully guaranteed. That's $40 million for year one, fully guaranteed 2025, and then only $16 million guaranteed next year, meaning if the Raiders move off of Geno Smith after 1 year, they're only losing out on $16 million next year. Geno Smith, without a doubt, took a team-friendly deal, and both of these guys, Geno and Pete Carroll, must believe it's really going to work so they don't have to worry about those guarantees. I would not be surprised if Tom Brady, his influence with general manager John Spytek right here, who's good friends with him, maybe they're still open to drafting a quarterback and they were not willing to commit fully financially into Geno Smith. Pete Carroll is likely hoping to prove that Geno Smith can be the QB for years to come. Geno previously, when he had that amazing 2022 season with the Seahawks, stated that he was open to playing into his 40s and he still feels young.
I haven't started for a long time, so this is my first year starting. after a long time. This is only my 3rd year being a starter in the NFL, so I'm actually a little young. You know, I'm not young in age, but like as far as experience, you know, I know that I'm just entering into my prime. I know that I can play another 10 years. I take care of my body. I eat right.
Back when this interview was recorded, Geno Smith had only been a starter for 3 full seasons. Now he's been a starter for 5 full seasons. That is still not a lot of wear and tear on his body for an 11-year vet. And I bet you he's hungry to play after having to ride the bench for so many years. I would not be surprised if this guy tries to extend his career into his early 40s. He's very athletic for his age. Coming out of West Virginia, Geno Smith was praised for his athletic ability, and he was considered a raw talent, a guy you would have to develop over time. He would need to age like fine wine, and now Geno is here at 34 years old, ready to be the new starting quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders. And any rookie QB who may be coming in might want to think twice about being more athletic than Geno Smith. This guy really doesn't like how people sleep on how quick he is.
The one thing that I don't like is that people try to use my age as a negative thing, but you know, I've gained a lot of wisdom, but I'm also still very strong and fast. You know, I mean, if you want to get these young 24-year-olds, 23-year-olds out there on the field and work with me, we'll see who's faster and who's stronger. I'm still athletic. I can still move. I'm still mobile. I believe that you know, I've continued to get, you know, faster and stronger throughout my career, and I still feel like I'm 21. People will see that when they get to see me on the field. They'll see I'm quick twitch. I can move. I can play all the positions, but I'm just a quarterback.
I do not think 23 and 24 years old was an arbitrary number for Geno Smith. That is around the age of these rookie quarterbacks who are coming in 2025 in this year's draft class. I think Geno Smith is saying that he's not scared of any type of competition. And if you're looking at somebody like Shedeur Sanders, Quinn Ewers, or Jackson Dart, maybe Geno Smith is more athletic than them right now at age 34 than they are in their early 20s. Either way, the Raiders appear to be doing their homework on the 2025 QB draft class. Around this Monday or Tuesday, they are planning on meeting with Shedeur Sanders. They have a top 30 visit scheduled with him, and this is kind of crazy because they hold the number 6 pick in the NFL draft, and a lot of people think this guy is going to slide, not be selected by the Browns, not be selected by the New York Giants, who hold the 2nd and 3rd picks in the NFL draft. Shedeur Sanders is not the only quarterback that the Raiders have met with. They have had top 30 visits with a number of QBs. Quarterback Quinn Ewers had a top 30 visit with the Las Vegas Raiders, along with Cam Ward out of Miami, but he's probably going to be selected number 1 by the Tennessee Titans. And you had Will Howard, quarterback out of Ohio State, really interesting guy who was coached by the Raiders offensive coordinator right now, Chip Kelly, last year at Ohio State. So Will Howard could be somebody really interesting for the Raiders if they select a quarterback in the 2nd round. But what's crazy is that Geno Smith also has a connection with the offensive coordinator of the Raiders, Chip Kelly. His cousin Jeremiah Smith, the absolutely stud, amazing wide receiver, was just coached by Chip Kelly in that Ohio State offense. So the Raiders will likely avoid a quarterback in the 1st round, and that is why many people believe Ashton Jeanty, the star running back out of Boise State, who has just met recently with the Raiders, is going to be the pick at pick 6.
There's a lot of dot connecting here. There's a lot of fans being like, see, they're interested. This is obviously one to keep an eye on. We don't know right now whether or not the Raiders will take Ashton Jeanty, but I do know this. If they do, there'll be many Raiders fans who go, I told you so.
All the betting odds have Ashton Jeanty as the favorite to go to the Raiders at pick 6, and it's gotten so crazy, the hype has gotten so insane that even the general manager John Spytek's son is saying he will leave the family if he doesn't select Jeanty.
Yeah, my oldest son has made it no secret that if we don't pick Ashton Jeanty at 6, that he's walking out of the family and he's going to find somebody else. Probably whoever takes Ashton. Jack is motivated by fantasy football and touchdowns in fantasy football, not necessarily all of team building, but we're working.
So the general manager of the Raiders was joking about his son, about how they are big on him selecting Jeanty at pick 6, but the key thing he said at the end there is that his son's only interested in the fantasy side of it, not necessarily the team building side. And think about where John Spytek comes from. He was working with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last year in their front office. That is a front office that was able to select Bucky Irving in the 4th round, and that guy was a dynamic running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last year in his rookie season. So I don't anticipate somebody like John Spytek, if he had success doing that last year, drafting a running back late, I don't see why he would pick Jeanty at pick 6 when he could find some starting talent at the running back position on day 2, on day 3. So even though the headlines and articles that get the most clicks and views have the Raiders taking either Ashton Jeanty at pick 6 or quarterback at pick 6, mainly Shedeur Sanders, and I just do not see that happening at all. I think the best thing for the Raiders is to fully commit to Geno Smith for 2 years. You really don't want to have a first round pick or even a second round pick quarterback sitting behind Geno Smith, making him feel less secure about his job. I think they should just go full on, give that guy confidence, and try to get some pieces, especially on the offensive side of the football, to help Geno Smith, because they need something more than just Brock Bowers. And hey, I will be live during the first round of the NFL draft on April 24th, Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you join me on this channel. We're going to be reacting to all the draft updates live in the first round and reacting to clips and all kinds of things all around the internet. So I hope you'll join me live on this channel then, the first night of the NFL draft. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.